welcome to the after party behind the mic, where a bunch of amateur voice actors sit around, hang out, talk about voice acting and things. My name is Wilhelmina. I am your host today, and today we are joined by the wonderful voices of...
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Edmund.
It's Manuel Fluency.
Hello, they call me Desmond, and my strange addiction is I am addicted to sniffing metal.
I don't know how I can follow up with that, but hey guys, it's Chris Johnston yet again. So, Wilhelmina, what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about the business of voice acting, and of course, some of us here have a little more experience than others. Most of us here are also just amateurs though, but so far we've learned a lot taking these classes with closing credits, and we wanted to make sure that there are a lot of questions that many aspiring voice actors are always asking and looking into, and we want to just make this an easy way for everybody to get some basic information on the business side of things. So I think one of the most important things to think about when you're interested in any creative industry, and this definitely applies to voice acting, is how to network yourself. And what is networking? So networking is a form of socializing within your eye of interest, with the future desire to build opportunities for yourself by making social connections. Not necessarily always with the intention of, ooh, I'm going to be friends with this person because they're going to give me business later. I think the main thing about networking is to remember that is just a social construct. It's a social concept, so making friends who are in a similar form of interest. So what are some good ways to network? I think one of the great things about joining voice acting classes is meeting other people who are also interested in voice acting.
Definitely. And I'd really like to stress a point here. Like you said, it's not so much about networking is not going to somebody with the explicit purpose of having them deliver something to you. It is more of the idea that you form a relationship with someone who has the same interests as you. Specifically for voice acting, you're in the same voice acting industry together. And that relationship opens the door for opportunities for the both of you. That's what networking is. It's a relationship. It's an interpersonal relationship between people with the same interests for mutual benefits.
Absolutely. And one thing too to remember there is like, you don't have to force yourself to be friends with somebody for the sake of, trying to get work too. Networking is a social concept, and if you're not having fun with it, then you gotta look somewhere else for that.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to bend over backwards trying to network with someone who you honestly don't like. Like, that's not the purpose of networking. Be
genuine.
Yeah, be yourself, because it's for both of your benefit. And if you're just trying to suck something from somebody, they're not gonna like that. And honestly, you're probably not gonna like it if you honestly don't like the person.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's really important to just keep in mind, follow your gut instinct when you are meeting new people, and just be genuine. Just genuinely be a kind person. If you're not, if you're not genuinely kind, you're gonna have a hard time getting into an industry that relies heavily on word of mouth.
Yeah. Always be cognizant of your reputation, and it's not to say that you should be worried about being like cut off from other people just because you didn't work with somebody, but it's more of stay safe and make sure you're cognizant of how you're approaching other people, how you're presenting yourself, and
exactly
that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you have a bad experience with someone, don't be trash talking them later down the road, because you never know what that connection could have been. And if you are spreading rumors, or hey, you had a bad experience with this one person, you gotta be very mindful of your own reputation in an industry that is so close knit.
Yeah.
Just be nice. Just don't be a dick, basically.
Don't be a dick. Yeah. It's always a good rule to follow.
And networking is a very strong, just a very strong social community, and socializing is, there's a fine line between just being social and networking yourself. And networking is the result of socializing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing. Not only don't be a dick, but also watch out for dicks.
That too.
Comes with the territory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think another great thing, and for me personally, is I like to judge people by my own experience with them. So if I hear that somebody, like, if I do happen to hear someone, saying bad things about somebody, I like to meet that person myself. I wanna be able to make that judgment myself. I think that's also very important to remember. Is go by your own gut in scenarios like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought up another great point to tie us back into how to network is like through acting classes or through picking up work as a voice actor, like doing an audition and then nailing the audition, getting casted. A great easy way to network is to keep in contact with those people that you meet through those opportunities. Like keep in contact with your peers that you took an acting class with. This is entirely what this podcast is about. Is we all met on an acting class.
We are networking as we speak this moment.
Indeed. And we just kept together, and that is networking. If you get a job and you enjoyed working with that person, say, hey, that was really fun. Let me give you my information so that we can keep in touch. And I'll let you know if I have any opportunities down the line, and hopefully they'll let you know as well.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to reach out to people too.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of networking and jobs, when I at Home Depot, my mom told me at her job that there were these people who were coming over and asking for employees to do commercials. That was actually the very first time that I've ever auditioned for anything actually. Because when I was working at Home Depot, I went to my mom's job. I met this casting director who needed some employees to actually do a commercial. Unfortunately, I didn't get the role, but my mom did. And they actually came back to do another commercial, but unfortunately the project didn't go through because people ended up getting sick.
Yeah. Well, I think the really important thing there is that you put yourself out there. Like you went for it. Yeah,
exactly. I auditioned for it, and that was actually a huge learning experience for me because I took acting classes before, so I knew what to do. But that was like the very first time that I've actually learned about networking and what people wanted in the industry and what these people actually end up doing. Turns out it's actually, and that made me realize it's actually not impossible to do. You might have to work for it, yes, but it is in fact
that touches
possible.
upon a great point there that to get started in any industry, really, you have to put yourself out there. You have to be brave and be vulnerable. People don't really think about it, but when you audition, you're in a very vulnerable state because you're putting yourself out there in a pretty genuine manner, and are actively asking people to listen to it and judge it and see if it's right for them. So it can be kind of scary, but it's important to realize that you do have to get out there and audition in order to get started.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. And then as far branching off of a turn of networking a bit, I think it's also important to remember that in this industry, of course there's going to be some bad apples, unfortunately, but for the most part, from my experience and what I've seen, is that it is such a welcoming community. And in terms of voice acting, don't be afraid to reach out and make genuine connections with voice actors, because they're just regular people. So what's so nice about today is that a lot of voice actors are on social media, and of course, I think the thing is, don't bombard, but be respectful, and as long as you are being genuine, they're gonna appreciate that. And I've now personally had the pleasure of, I have decided myself to reach out to a few voice actors that I like and just be like, hey, I just want to let you know that I love your work. I look forward to seeing you in more projects in the future. And you've been you've been a big motivation for me. Thank you. Have a good day. And that's it. Like, hey, can you say something for me, or hey, can I just a heads up, I'm a voice actor, so can you put in a good no, don't do that. Just say,
Yeah,
hey, I
Yeah,
like your work. Have a good day. It's very, very simple,
yeah.
and they're gonna appreciate that you're being genuine and respectful. And
Don't do the
you
whole
never know where
notice
that
me,
might lead.
senpai.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be
Yeah.
like, oh man.
Notice me.
I feel like
Like we're
that's
stressing here.
yeah. I feel like that's exactly what you were
Yeah.
about to
Yeah.
do. Like you so would have done that if you were able to, but you just had to have discipline and be like,
Yeah, because
yeah, this is me.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Understand
important.
that if
And
you
then
were
just
in their
go-
position, how would you want people to talk to you?
Because
And I think that's very important to remember.
voice actors are regular
Exactly.
people, just like you and I.
Yes. Yeah. We are all, we are all getting started in this industry right now. And this is how, many voice actors that we ourselves look up to and what a lot of people look up to. It's how they started. They're just normal, they're regular people.
Regular lads. and
Um,
lasses.
But that's also a form of networking, is just reaching out to people who are in the industry and just being like, hey, I like your work.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then, one day you can be like, hey, I've been pursuing this and I'm here now. I just wanted to let you know that again, like, thank you for motivating me to continue on this path. Have a good day. Just cut it off there.
Yeah.
And you never
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
If you do that every so often, someone might be like, hey, I saw, once you finally get to the point of posting a demo or doing some work, they might actually be like, hey, I remember you. And, it's just that sort of genuine connection you are trying to build.
Mhm.
Not necessarily always with the intent of getting work. That's the thing that's very important to remember.
And if you're lucky enough to live in a city that has a thriving acting industry, reach out to local actors and
Exactly, yes.
like
Like
get
Atlanta.
local with it. Because if you live by people, again, these people are going to be your peers now, so you're going to be working in this industry with them. Might as well reach out and say hello and start a conversation with them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of connections and actors being people and stuff, I just want to let you guys know my doctor, she actually told me that she's friends with somebody who is in the industry. She told me that. Yeah, when I told her that that I'm a voice actor and that that I'm getting my foot out there in the voice acting business. She told me that her friend was actually in the industry. She was a director's assistant, and she actually went on set and she actually met a couple people. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? No
It's
way!
like-
And she's like,
And honestly, there is that portion of the voice acting business that is based on luck and time and place and opportunity. But you got to make that opportunity for yourself. And the more you put yourself out there and the more you socialize, the more you make this attempt at, you make this effort at networking and getting to know people in the industry, the higher your luck is going to be.
Yeah, the more your
So I think that's
name
important.
is around, the more chances you have of an opportunity landing and your name being brought up.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly.
Don't be shy about telling people that you're a voice actor, because
Yeah.
it's surprising who you can meet just by telling somebody, hey, I'm a voice actor.
Yeah.
Like with Desmond's story with your doctor, they know a director's assistant. You wouldn't really expect them to know a director's assistant.
Exactly.
Since you told your doctor you're a voice actor,
Boom,
you
opportunity.
found out
Yeah, they're like, oh, okay.
opportunity has come for you.
Talk about what your passions are and what your pursuits are, and you never know who might be listening.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So, yeah, exactly.
If someone asks what you do, don't be like, oh, I do some stuff like, online. I do some voice work. No, say, I am a voice actor.
Yeah, be confident in it.
Be proud.
Exactly. And going off from that, I want to talk a bit about agencies. And I think the whole confidence thing is very important in that. Because when you are ready to start reaching out for agencies, if you send an email and you send your demo reel and you're like, hey, like, I'm a voice actor, do you think you don't be, do you think you can help me get in and blah, blah, blah. You gotta be confident. You gotta be like, yep, that's me. I'm a voice actor. Here's my demo reel. Look forward to, like, go in like you are expecting to be hired.
yeah, exactly. That's another thing I did, because when I told my before I left before I left my job, I told my friend that I started becoming a voice actor, and then this other guy heard me, and then we started talking. About me being a voice actor, and I think his friend was doing the same thing too. And I told him what I wanted to do and stuff like that, and that was like one of the biggest hell yeah moments of my life.
Yeah, it's good to be confident in your skills.
It's just
and by being confident in your skills, even if you yourself are not confident, but you don't let that show, people are going to see that, oh wow, this person knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And with agencies especially, that's very important, because a lot of times agencies are looking for people who can bring in revenue for them. And if you don't have that confidence, and quite honestly, if you don't already have some experience under your belt, you're gonna have a hard time getting into an agency. So by putting yourself out there and presenting and creating those opportunities for yourself to start working already, you up your chances of getting into an agency at some point, if that's your goal as a voice actor.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing to note about that is also the dark portions of the business. We talked about the yang version, but here's the yin of it. And again, not trying to discourage people. I'm trying to warn, just warn. If you don't sound confident, or if you just don't sound like you know what you're doing, there are some vampires, some energy sharks out there or predators out there who just want to take advantage of your goals to suit their needs. And again, if you're not careful, you can fall victim to that. And I'm sure we'll get more into this later on, like agents and stuff like that. If you're not careful, they can take advantage of them. So basically, just sound more confident. Just be more confident, and actually, again, sound like you know what you're doing.
And avoid predatory
fake
people.
it till you make it. That type of thing. Yeah, exactly. And avoid predatory people. And even if you come across those type of people, if you sound like you know what you're doing, they'll be like, "Oh shit, this guy knows."
Don't be afraid of saying no.
You should probably back up.
Oh yes. Very big thing. Like this.
Say no.
Yeah.
We live in an industry, in the voice acting industry specifically, of no. There's a
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, because you get however many auditions sent in for any role. It's a lot of people auditioning. The people who are trying to get that role, they're not going to listen through 2,000 auditions. They're going to keep on listening until they find the voice that they want, and then cast them. You're never going to know when you're the second pick. You're just going to be sending in all these auditions, and it'll be yes or it'll be no, and a lot of the time it's going to be no. So don't be afraid of saying no yourself. If you find work and you audition for it and you get it, but on further review, you don't really like how they're managing it, or they give you the wrong vibes, or you don't really like the project now that you have a closer look, you can always say, I'm sorry, actually this isn't for me, and move on.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to look at with agencies too, when you're starting to branch out and you are ready to pursue an agency, is to look at their roster, see who's on there. Are these voice actors people that you want to work with? Look at the agency that you are looking at, and a lot of times you can apply to multiple agencies. It's good to go straight for like a local agency. Usually when you're starting out, they're going to have a smaller roster, they're going to be a little easier to get into, but keep that in mind when you're looking for something like that. Is who do you want to work with? And you are allowed to say no, and you are allowed to leave an agency once you've already started there if they're not helping you. So that's important to remember as well.
And to the point, I think we covered it briefly, but you don't need an agent when you start out. It's not.
You typically won't have an agent when you start out for a long time.
Yeah, I don't have an agent.
This is a freelance sort of thing.
I'm already doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of us have agents. We just audition for things.
Exactly.
Huh, I'm my own agent. Nice try. I got my own spy watch and everything.
I mean, we have an unofficial agent in Matthew, but
yeah, but that's more of like our networking giving us the opportunities that come our way.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that is
he's not our
and that
actual...
is again find places where you can throw yourself into the community, and you'll have good luck with that as well.
Yeah, because it's such a tight-knit community with voice acting. You know, when you dip your fingers into separate, finding your little place to thrive, a lot of the times they're gonna send opportunities into that community for people to pick up on.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
I mean, Matthew has helped a lot of people in the class. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And to the point of like freelance and otherwise, I think we have a little bit of stuff on unions as well.
Yeah, so just to touch up on unions. So when you start voice acting, a lot of times you're going to be doing non-union work. And there are pros and cons to joining a union. And the thing is, a lot of voice actors kind of see union work as you want that. But there are pros and cons, so you kind of have to weigh those. So as far as union goes, union basically in simple terms is just a group of working individuals who join together in a specific organization or interest with the idea of improving working conditions together as a common interest of the group. And as far as voice acting goes, that is often a very good thing, because voice actors, contrary to a very popular belief, voice actors do not make they don't make a ton of money. And your money is gonna vary depending on which job you do. Commercial work tends to pay the most, but the thing with union work is that you're in a better position to get higher pay for the work that you do, but your work will also might be a little bit limited because not everyone wants to hire from a union for that specific reason. So you have to really think about that when you're deciding if you want to join union or not. And sometimes if you join a union, your work will be a little bit more limited, and you have a bit less control of your own brand. When you're non-union, you have more control of your brand, you have a little more you can branch out to. But the pros and cons weighs heavily on the pay. And you tend to get paid more for your job and tend to have better security and better benefits in a union position. So it's really your own personal direction you want to go as a voice actor. If you're doing this as a hobby, don't bother joining a union. But if you're doing this seriously, union work might be ideal for you, or it might not be. You might want to be your own branding. You might want to be in control of what you decide and your pay, rather than having to communicate with a group interest. So as far as union work goes, it's very your own personal goal as a voice actor of what you want to do, in which direction you want to take it, and how much control you want to have.
So joining a union or not is a very personal choice, and there is no correct answer, and it just depends on what your own goals are in the industry.
Exactly. And the safety nets that you might want to have. Because again, I mean, as unions, you tend to have easier access to benefits as far as maternity leave and medical benefits, family care, retirement benefits. You tend to have easier access to that in a union than you would if you were on your own. But it really depends on your own personal choice as well.
And on the subject of freelance work, which a lot of voice acting work is freelance work, non-union, and building your own brand specifically, that falls on your shoulders as a voice actor, because you are, in many senses, the CEO of your voice.
Exactly. And Manuel, you have a bit of experience kind of doing that on your own with your own podcast. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, of course. So as everyone knows, I'm the CEO of my own tutoring business. So I have been doing this for 8 years, so I know a little bit about how to market yourself. So the first thing that you should know is that you shouldn't really start paying money to have a website. You don't really need a website to start doing this. There are many free places where you can start giving away your information, your social media, such as card.co or Linktree. I believe those are very good free sites where you can have all your links for your social media. And I believe that YouTube is one of the greatest marketing resources that we have nowadays, and it's completely free. So all you have to do is just make some content. And regarding your voice acting, you can just put on YouTube the auditions that you have made, some we call it these projects that we have, passion projects. So if you have any passion projects, you are a writer, you got to know some people. This is why networking is also very important, because if you want to create, for example, your kind of like indie animation or indie game or something like that, you can get together with your friends and work together towards that, and then you can post the finished product on YouTube for free, and you can start.
Sorry, I really like that. Just make content. I really like that.
Right. So at first, of course, no one is gonna know you. Probably you're gonna spend the very first like 3 months with nobody watching you, and that's completely normal. You just have to get used to it. But at the same time, you should not be discouraging, because basically, if you are someone who is so afraid of doing this, because it's one thing to audition for a gig and trying to get the role, and another thing to just like do some voices or do many different projects on YouTube where it's public and everyone can see what you're doing. So it's so many people are so afraid to start doing content on YouTube because it's so public. But at first, like I said, nobody's gonna watch you. Probably the only people that are gonna watch are your friends, people that you have told about your YouTube channel. So you don't really have to worry about what other people think, what strangers think, because nobody's really going to like criticize you for that. We don't even know you. And for those people that are so afraid of messing up with this, I really follow an advice of a live streamer who says that if you want to start something, be it live streaming, podcast, voice acting, or whatever, you basically have to just do it. Because the very first things, the very first content you do, is gonna be crap. That was his words. Yeah, it's everything you start doing, even if you like study a lot, like you start getting some knowledge about it. When you start doing it, like when you start applying your knowledge and start doing something, it's always gonna come out wrong. Okay, because everyone is a beginner at everything in life. So we just have to begin doing it, and we're gonna improve as we go. That's actually why we could.
Yeah, no, it's an excellent point there. When you go out there, we're saying just do it, just get your voice out there, just audition, and it's scary, it's vulnerable. You're afraid of being judged, what other people might think, and of being just bad. But we gotta start somewhere, and you don't know what you're bad at until you do it, and you look at it and say, "Ooh, that's super cringe," and then that's when you can start adjusting.
And I want to be very, very blunt in saying this, that if you are the type of person that is going to have a very hard time with the no and the getting, the feedback is not always going to be constructive, unfortunately. And you gotta, if you can't take judgment well, then this industry is probably not going to be easy for you.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
You gotta be the kind of
test.
person that can shake that off and just keep going.
Yeah.
Because if you can't take the no's, or if the rejection, and I mean, we're all human. You could be putting in audition after audition after audition and then not getting anything back, and that can be really soul crushing. But the difference in a successful voice actor and a non-successful voice actor is the fact that successful voice actor kept doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's just something that you really gotta be very aware of when you are getting into an industry like this, is that there's gonna be a lot of walls you're gonna hit before you finally find a door. And there are those who, the reality is, some never find that door. And eventually you might have to be like, well, maybe this isn't right for me. But that's the thing, is that if you are not, like, you can definitely do voice acting as a hobby for fun. If you love it, and nobody is telling you, hey, just stop voice acting. But if you are really trying to get into a professional setting in voice acting, then you gotta go 100% in. And you can't let those no's and those rejections stop you.
Yeah, you can't let the silence discourage you. You gotta keep on grinding.
Yeah, and sometimes silence is worse than just being told no, honestly.
Yeah, because again, getting those 50 auditions in and being like, man, not a single fucking person has gotten back to me. That hurts.
Yeah, but, it's like, maybe I'm not good. It's like, no, like, maybe you're just, you weren't right for that project.
Yeah, again, you never know when you were the second pick.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is that sometimes you don't even, sometimes there's a chance that person didn't even get to your audition. Which can happen sometimes too. Like if hundreds of people have submitted something and they find a voice they really like, and I'm quoting this from now our wonderful friend Burger. I'm quoting this from him, is that if somebody needs a voice for a project and they find that voice, they're not going to keep listening to more auditions. They're going to be like, this is the voice. This is the one I want. It's going to be hard for them to keep listening to other auditions because they're just going to keep going back to that other voice. So there are even times where you could send in an audition and you won't hear anything back because they never got to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also a truth of this industry as well. But that's why you just keep going anyway. Just keep submitting as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
However, there's also the case of, there might be a reason why you're not hearing anything back too. And while it's a yes, it could be because you just weren't right, or it could be because, hey, maybe I do need to improve on this skill. And that's also a very important factor to remember as well.
Which is why it's so important, like Manuel brings up, to post your things online, to get your YouTube channel and get content out there. Because that way you can look at it and you can reflect on that work. And if you're lucky, other people will view it and give feedback that you can use, hopefully, to improve.
Yes.
Right.
Build up that repertoire.
Definitely. Right, exactly. And sometimes you don't even to do auditions to get any paychecks. For example, I want to tell you guys about the experience that Matthew, our friend Matthew had. As you know, he has a TikTok, and apparently he has also tried to many auditions for paychecks. He has a Fiverr and everything, but he had gotten nothing like in 6 months. So that could be very discouraging for some people because he has a full-on like professional studio at home, and so he even had the skills, the voice and everything, yet he had no paychecks. So but 2 days ago he just made a new TikTok video, and apparently it went viral, and it got like in 1 day like 16,000 views, and I think now it's like going crazy. And because he had already put on social media all his auditions, his content and everything, he even got some offers from indie game developers just this week. So finally he's gonna get paid for voicing some characters, and he didn't even have to audition for them. They just found him on TikTok, and that's how he got some paychecks. So definitely having your stuff, your work in social media can help you a lot. Especially because some people that you are auditioning for, if you audition for on Twitter or even in Casting Call Club, if you have your social media right there on your profile, they're gonna check it out because they don't want to see just your audition, because probably you could fake your like a studio, you could record in a really good studio while your real setup is like really bad. So they want to see if your voice is like your real voice, if it's the same quality all over your whole work. So having your social media filled with your work actually helps you land that pay jig, right? So it's definitely very helpful.
I also like to stress.
That's also really cool because a lot of times it's not just your voice they're looking for. They want to know that you are easy to work with as well. Mm-hmm. And by being so public about yourself and your interests, and you can definitely have, you don't have to, show your face. There are plenty of as voice actors in the industry who are currently working and stuff who don't even show their face. So you can still be very vocal about what the work that you're doing. And if a casting director or an agent or something happens to stumble across content that you have made, and they go into and they're like, wow, this person seems like such a cool this is a cool person, I might want to work with them. Like that's again going back to be genuinely yourself and love what you do, and people might want to, you'll have higher your chances of people wanting to work with you.
Yeah. And also, you don't even just need to get those paid gigs that Manuel is talking about. You could work on free gigs, like just putting your work out there in projects. That too
A lot
will
of voice
circulate.
actors started by doing free stuff, and
Yeah,
there are plenty of working voice actors now who still do free stuff for fun.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I
I
haven't
do.
gotten paid. I haven't gotten paid for a gig yet, but I'm still here. I'm still grinding
Yeah.
my nose, and that's just the reality of it. Is you probably won't land that paid gig. Like we said, Matthew, he's got a full professional studio. He's really outstanding, fantastic man. But he's just now getting those paid gigs. So don't worry about it if you're not getting paid for it immediately.
And Chris, you've currently got a project in the works that you need voice actors for and stuff, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, so it's like there's the thing. There's a project that you're putting yourself out there right now and making connections by doing that. So it's like making content, sharing your stuff, offering to help other people with their content that, as long as you're passionate and interested in it, I think is a really excellent way to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And we are 37 minutes in, so I think that will wrap us up for the day. This has been a really cool, really educational conversation. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining me today for this podcast, and thank you so much for listening. That will be it. We will see you all next time.
We hope that helps. Yeah, we hope that helps you.
I hope so, yeah.
This definitely helped me.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. That'll be it. Have a wonderful day.